What is a Filipino? Is being a Filipino merely citizenship as determined by the Constitution? Is it love of country? A state of mind? Or is it by race alone? So what is a Filipino? It is just a simple question, yet it is so hard to answer. It is because a Filipino cannot be defined by one component alone to make a complete description of who we are. We would look at the mind, heart, and soul to know what is the real meaning of being a Filipino. Now, let's talk about society. The term society has been derived from the Latin word socius, which means a companion, association, or fellowship. It is because man always lives in the company of his fellow beings. The term society is understood in different sense, but in sociology, society refers not to a group of people, but to the complex pattern of the norms or interaction that arise among them. People exist only as an agent of social relationship. Mere congregation of individuals does not constitute society. Rather, society refers to the complicated network of social relationships by which every individual is interrelated with his fellow men. Hence, society is abstract, not concrete in nature. We can't touch it but feel it, because society resides in the minds of individuals. The Philippines is a hierarchical society. This means that people accept a hierarchical order in which everybody has a place and which needs no further justification. Hierarchy in an organization is seen as reflecting inherent inequalities. Centralization is popular, subordinates expect to be told what to do, and the ideal boss is a benevolent autocrat.
There are a lot of issues that our society is facing today. One of these is the gender roles and stereotyping. People have occasionally felt pressure to act or look a certain way based on their gender. This pressure can make people unhappy if they are being asked to be or act in a way that does not match who they really are. Every society, ethnic group, and culture has gender role expectations, but they can be very different from group to group. They can also change in the same society over time. Men are supposed to be tough. Men who cry are not real men. Men are always the good leaders. Women are supposed to be reserved, clean, and organized. Gay men are all feminine. Lesbians hate men. These are some stereotypes every gender has to deal with. Stereotypes may either be positive or negative, but often it is the latter and usually are exaggerated. Positive stereotypes may also have negative effects on an individual because it makes a person feel less recognized. Gender role stereotypes are when a person is expected to act in a certain way based on society's expectations related to their gender. Traditional gender roles go back to a time when there were clear and at times unequal rules about how people were expected to act based on their gender. There are 4 basic kinds of gender stereotypes. The first one is the personality traits. As children, there is no limit to what we believe we can become, but as girls and boys, we are steered in different directions growing up. This happens because of what we call gender stereotypes, a traditional ideas about what boys and girls can or should do. This may not always be obvious, but stereotypes are everywhere, and they start to follow us from our earliest day in the toy store. Before kids are even born, These stereotypes are there in the form of gift that the parents receive when they announce their pregnancies. This gift usually range from bows and onesies with the words "Mommy's Little Princess" for not yet born girls, trucks, and Daddy's Little Hunk for the boys. After the kids are born, the gendering continues with the language we use, suggesting that boys are tough and girls are delicate. Gender stereotypes also show up in the toys that the kids are encouraged to play with. Most people offer dolls, cooking sets, or art supplies to girls, and toy trains, trucks, or tools to boys, often without a second thought to the child's actual preference. A trip to a typical children's clothing store will offer overwhelming amounts of pink and purple for girls and blue and green for boys, with more form-fitting body-conscious designs for girls and looser active designs for boys. Women are often expected to be accommodating and emotional, while men are usually expected to be self-confident and aggressive. The second kind of gender stereotypes is occupation. Gender stereotypes continues to influence us when choosing subjects at school. For instance, girls are expected to be good at arts and humanities, while boys are led towards math and science. When we come across the same stereotypes again and again, they begin to feel natural and start to shape our preference and career paths. More men go into better paid jobs in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field, and women tend to choose teaching and social world professions. As the kids grow, we may encounter gender stereotypes outside our homes, within friend groups, at school, and on the playground. Boys might hang out with the other boys and play tag or soccer, and girls might hang out with the girls and play house or princesses. Some people are quick to assume that teachers and nurses are women, and the pilots, doctors, and engineers are men. The third kind of gender stereotype is domestic behaviors. People who were born male were expected to be strong and aggressive, not emotional, and of course, to love sports. People who were born female were expected to be kind and nurturing, emotional and domestic, meaning they were all supposed to be able to cook and clean. Some people expect that women will take care of the children, cook, and clean the home, while men take care of finances, work on the car, and do the home repairs. Even in our home, we may find ourselves encouraging girls to help with the laundry and cooking, and boys just chilling or taking out the trash, rooting them into chores associated with the genders. The last type of gender stereotype is the physical appearance. Gender role stereotypes also affect people's understanding of who is beautiful and who is not. People still go to great lengths to try and conform to these unrealistic ideals they see in popular media. They diet, obsessively exercise, and go through plastic surgery. For example, women are expected to be thin and graceful, while men are expected to be tall and muscular. Men and women are also expected to dress and groom in ways that are stereotypical to their gender. Men wearing pants and short hairstyles, women wearing dresses and makeup. So that is the 4 basic kinds of gender stereotypes. First is the personality traits. Second is the occupation. Third is the domestic behaviors. And last is the physical appearance. When you are born, your sex is assigned in a medical way, but the sex listed on your birth certificate may not necessarily match your gender identity. Gender identity is a person's inner experience of who they are in terms of gender, that deep personal sense of being male, female, a blend of both, or neither. And while many people have a gender identity that is the same as their assigned birth sex of female or male, that's not always the case because gender exists on a spectrum. Like transgender, which means a person whose gender identity is not consistent with their assigned birth sex. The non-binary, which means a person whose identity doesn't fall in the category of either male or female. And genderqueer or gender fluid, which means a person who does not identify themselves as having a specific gender at all. Does gender identity have to do with being straight or gay? Actually, no. Gender identity has to do with the way you feel about yourself, while sexual orientation is based on the way you feel toward others, the people you may or may not be attracted. Remember, you don't have to fully understand someone to respect them. To start, try not to make any assumptions about a person's gender and use the name and pronouns that they ask you to. Above all, be a friend or ally for people of all gender identities. But where do these stereotypes and generalizations come from? The answer is they aren't simply built into our biology. We learn them like language. We learn them through our interactions with others, through ads and social media, through the way our actions and appearance are labeled by others. We are influenced by our parents, friends, and the world around us. If you are going to ask me, is there anything wrong with these stereotypes? Not necessarily. It's perfectly fine for a girl to love pink and sparkles or a boy to love race cars and footballs. A sizable number of people will gravitate toward undertypical preferences even when given free access to the whole range of things and interests. The problem arises when those stereotypes limit the goals the people drive for or the type of person they believe they can be. For the parents, give your kids choices from a young age and see what they pick for themselves. The key is awareness that the stereotypes do exist and what you do with them is up to you. Luckily, as times have changed, so have people's expectations about gender roles. More and more people are free to behave in ways that are true to who they really are, and that is a good thing. Acknowledging gender stereotypes and their consequences is the first step towards breaking the mold so that we build our lives based on our own choices. Today, people have more freedom than ever to express themselves in a way that feel true to who they really are, regardless of their gender.
The Philippine society is unique compared to other Asian countries, and beliefs apply every day in the life of the Filipinos, and that reveal how rich and blessed the society that we have. And for the Philippines to have a better society, we should always look at the mind, heart, and soul of the Filipinos. Again, my name is Ira Karansha, and that's it for today's video. Bye-bye.